Hi. So, are you constantly battling with your diary? Feeling like it's never enough time for you to do it all? You're not alone at all. It's such a busy life right now, especially if you are a working professional or you run a business. The demand of work and personal responsibility can leave us feeling really overwhelmed. My name is Obehi Alofoje, and I'm a psychologist and executive coach. And I've got some good news for you because you can tame your time monster and take back some control. So, in this video, I'm going to share three practical strategies that I use and I share with clients all the time to help manage your diary more effectively. Going to help you prioritize your task and maximize your productivity as best as you can, all without sacrificing your own well being. So let's get started. So, strategy one, you want to understand your productivity rhythm. Okay. So there's something I wanted to leave to think about. The productivity isn't really about time that you spend 24 hours in a day. There's a limit to how much we can use them. We have to rest, we have to sleep, we have to eat, we have to do stuff. And then we have to work, but they can't all be used for a singular thing. You could try, but it won't last very long. It's not sustainable. So we want to be able to think about productivity that you use is the length of the energy that you spend. Okay, so for that to happen, I want you to understand your productivity rhythm. So the first step in mastering your time is understanding the productivity and energy that you use to do a particular task. Okay. So when you think about energy levels, it's the ebbs and flow of your day. You don't sustain energy all day the same way. You wake up, you might have high energy, other people will have low energy, and then as the day goes, it fluctuates until you go to bed. So this is influenced by what we call a circadian rhythm. So it's our body's internal clock, like a body clock that kind of tells us, okay, it's time to wake up now, and here's the amount of energy that you've got. So that's what I want you to think about. So are you a morning lark, morning bird? Are you someone who's energized, productive in the early morning or early hours of the day? Or perhaps you're a night owl, so you're the opposite end. This is what I am, where you hit your stride later in the day. So you might even be a mid-morning, so you don't really have a preference per se, what they call midday eagle, somewhere in the middle. So you're not too early, you're not too late either. So the purpose of knowing it and recognizing where these energy peaks are allows us to work out where the most energy we have so that we can match them to specific tasks that we've got to do, especially tasks that are demanding for us, that require our highest energy. I hope that makes sense. So for me, when we think about how to understand it, I want you to focus on mapping out what your energy level looks like across the week. That's the best way to tell. So that you can work out actually certain days you might have high energy on certain days, low and certain time. And the idea is for you to be able to work out, 10 a.m. is the way I feel my most highest energy. And 12 p.m., 1 p.m. is where I start to really dip, for example. Okay? So try and track that throughout the week. It'll give you an idea, write a diary or use a graph just to measure, okay, this is roughly how I feel. The one tip though, the best time to do it would be at the weekend when you don't need an alarm clock to wake you up. You can wake up naturally because you don't have any specific activities to do. Unless of course you have children, then I'm very sorry about that. So, but get the idea. Just try and find a time that you can map out what it looks like for you. Okay, so that is my strategy number one. Strategy number two. So once you've mapped out your energy levels and where they fit in your day to day, then you want to be able to plan effectively with time blocking. So what does this mean? It just means as you have your diary, in your diary, as you do Monday to Friday or whatever, then once you've identified where your energy peaks are, so for the example I'm going to give, is energy peaks for me as a night owl, my energy peaks around 11 a.m. So 11 a.m. we'll get the highest. 11 a.m. to 1 a.m. very high. So what that means is you want to be able to know, okay, those are areas of focus. Okay, so your high energies, we call them focus blocks. Okay, and then you might have the energy that's lowest. And when I mean by lowest, it's like I'm going to have a nap now. I'm going to bed. That kind of energy low. Those are what we call recharge blocks. In other words, that's the block where you should be resting, or where you should be having a nap, or where you should go to bed. It's sometimes good to see it like that. That way you don't sort of make yourself not go to bed early because you're thinking, well, why should I go to bed at this time? But actually that's what your body wants you to do because you reap the benefit later. And then you have two more blocks. You have the admin block. So this is the block where your energy is waning. You can tell it's going down, and it's not quite, but it's not enough to go have a nap. But it's definitely not enough to do the hard lifting, report writing you've got to do, or whatever it is. Or if you're a surgeon going to surgery, for example. So these are admin blocks. It is the part where you can do the paperwork, your diary management, responding to emails that are not urgent. This is where I put them, okay? And then you have finally a social block. This is where you interact with people. So these are your meetings. These are your social stuff with networking for work, for example. They don't always fit a great time. So I want you to bear that in mind. Just because the networking starts at 6 p.m., but actually you're quite tired, doesn't mean you don't go for the networking. It just means you now know you're going with less energy than usual. So you might want to leverage what you do there. Or you pick specific people you want to talk to, and off you go. For people who that's a high time of energy and they like socializing, they can go to town on it. It's about trying to work out what's best for you. You can't copy what someone else does. Okay, so when we talk about focus blocks, the bits that are the highest level, we want them as they're not the longest of blocks, 90 to 120 minutes at the most, when you can focus and you're really energized. Okay, this is deep work like strategizing, problem solving, being creative, those kind of things. So this is where I'd want you to focus on that. Admin blocks, things like answering emails and so on and so forth, those ones you can put in those blocks. So that is what I'll say when it comes to the second strategy. So the third strategy, in terms of now that you understand where your energy lies, again, using my example, focus blocks where the highest energy 10 to 2 p.m., for example, you might think, right, I'm going to use that time, I'm going to block it out, and I'm going to use that to write this report that I've been meaning to write for a couple of weeks now, but I've been putting it off because I'm dreading it, or that I just haven't had the time. So it makes more sense to be able to put high creative, high level thinking work in those blocks, which means you get to protect those blocks. So you don't give it away for a meeting that wasn't that important. So this is where you want to go in your diary. This is the third strategy, to go in your diary and block out where those energy high levels you've got are in your diary. Block them out, just says focus. Because it means if somebody says, hey, if someone calls me and says, hey, Obi, do you mind if I have a quick chat? And be at 11, I'm free from 11 a.m. I'm going to go, I'm so sorry, I'm not available right now. I've got a report to write during that time. What about 3 p.m.? I'm free then. And 3 p.m., not bad, not quite admin, but it's a social block. I've got enough energy to have conversations, but not enough to justify giving someone that 11 a.m. slot. I hope that makes sense. Obviously, depending on what you've got going. If your boss said, I need to meet you at 11, I suppose you can't negotiate with your boss about a certain time might fit you better, then sure, do 11 p.m. Okay, so I hope that makes sense. Now, the extra bonus thing I'm going to talk about is just the management of distraction, because then it's a case of saying, well, if I get distracted, say my boss said, come and do something else for me, or prioritize something else, then what did that make it? But I want to talk about how distraction, it depends on what the distraction is. So it's important to know what that might mean. So when we talk about, are they external stuff? Is it somebody ringing you? Is it your boss diverting attention elsewhere? Is it your wandering mind? What is it? So it's important to figure out what those triggers could be. That way, you use that opportunity to manage that. So you want to think about, for example, batching similar products together or similar tasks together. So if you're writing reports, then you just batch them together. If you're doing for business owners, sometimes have a podcast episodes and stuff, you can batch those together too. So it's allowing you to put certain things together so your concentration doesn't wane. It allows you to stay in one track. Other tip could be like using the Pomodoro, the timer, which allows you to focus on a short period of time, especially for people, and I will include myself in that, to get distracted after 20 or 30 minutes. So you might want to think, right, I'll get the clock timer, a nice little alarm clock or anything like that on your phone will do. And all you're trying to do with this is to give you a reminder to say, right, I'm going to work for 30 minutes and not move and not go to another tab. So speaking of tab, whatever tabs you're working on your laptop, only the tab you're working on at that moment. Every other tab, close them down. Otherwise, you keep going from tab to tab, different task, different topic, or different subject matter. So I hope that's helpful for you at this stage. So there you have it. You've got 3 tips plus a bonus. So you want to understand your productivity rhythm in terms of your energy levels, where it lies in, where it lies in the day for you. So I'd like you to be able to spend time figuring out, use a weekend to work out when it might flow. Then planning effectively using the time blocking and those 4 blocks I talked about: focus block for really heavy concentration work, admin block for things that are not so important, particularly social block for time where you can actually, you feel energized to talk to people, hang out with people, and then your recharge block, which is where you get to rest. Okay, and then of course we're talking about scheduling them in your diary, blocking them out, so that way you know that it's protected, so you know when you're giving that time away. And of course, the bonus is how to manage distractions, and that is to try and batch activities together where you can. And of course, using tools like Pomodoro techniques to be able to do that. And of course, closing down tabs that you are not using. Okay. So there you have it. So remember, it's all about aligning your task with your energy levels, planning, intentionally what you want to work on, and managing your distractions effectively. So start small. Okay, don't overdo it. If you can tomorrow, just schedule one focus block, put it in your diary and block it out, and then see how that feels, knowing that actually that time I blocked out, I'm going to use it to do this particular task that I've been meaning to do, and it's going to need a lot of my concentration. Because you deserve a schedule to support your productivity, it protects your peace of mind. So go ahead, take that first step today. Thanks for watching, and here's to a more productive and balanced life. Bye.